Hi, I'm Nick Orlando. I'm the Technology Director of Buckeye Local Schools. And on Thursday, March 13th, I will be presenting, along with our School Resource Officer, Deputy Petro, a program on safety for cell phones and computers for students. Again, our target audience is parents of students in the elementary grades. However, this information is timely for students K-12 in the district. So we hope we will be able to have a whole bunch of you come out and just kind of get a little bit of a presentation and be able to ask questions in a technical realm, or again in Officer Petro's sense, maybe in the legal areas that we might be able to help you out with. So I wanted to show a few things that we could do. And one of the things we'll start off with is asking parents or guardians, where do they keep their computer at home? Pretty simple question, but it has a lot of implications for the safety of your child. Our suggestion would be to keep it in a public space, the kitchen, the living room, and so forth, or if you have a home office. And
Not the bedroom.
Not the bedroom. Again, and that's something we'll get into. And I ask a number of questions here is, what kind of access do your students have to that type of technology? And again, just things to be thinking about, because if they are in their room, they pretty much will have access to whatever they want. And one of the things we see here in the schools is, are the kids getting enough sleep at night? Are they up talking to their friends until 3 and 4 in the morning, and then trying to come here to school and learn? So again, that is something we see almost on a daily basis, and that could even go for kids who have TVs in their room or DVD players. Do you know their friends? Do you know the friends that they have coming into the house? Do you know their online friends? Who are they communicating with? Strangers. Are strangers trying to communicate with your child in a chat room or some other type of social media situation? Again, that opens up a whole bunch of areas to be concerned as a parent. And then just knowing what websites they're going on. Does their computer have a camera on it? Can someone hack into that camera? Can they send images or videos of themselves to people thinking, hey, this is just fun? Again, that does open up a whole bunch of possibilities that parents want to be aware of. And just what are they sharing about themselves? Do they tell people what their birthday is so that they'll know how old they are? Do they share their address? Do they share where they live? So those are just things that parents can answer. And again, we'll be here to give some suggestions about such things.
Do you get into the social media type of stuff too?
We will get into.
Because a lot of kids will put that kind of stuff on Facebook or
Yes.
something. My name is this. I'm going to Edgewood School.
Right.
After school today, I'm going here. And
Right. That they need to be aware of. And again, all of those things I mentioned, and I will have just a quick slide on that. And honestly, the same things that we just talked about with knowing about computers is the cell phones versus a smartphone. Now, if they have just a cell phone where they can just call you, maybe text you, but not have access to the internet or email or chat rooms, that's one thing. If they have a smartphone, they have a computer in their room, and they're going to be able to do pretty much anything with that smartphone that they could with a computer. So all of the things mentioned just a few minutes ago go with students who have a smartphone. They have a computer in their pocket, and there are ways to lock some of that down for your younger kids if you do choose to have them have a cell phone. But you need to know how to do that. Shut it down in the background with Verizon or Sprint. One of just the other things, and again, this gets into for a little bit for the older kids, but it also, what are we doing as parents to show them just driving while texting or talking? Again, I have some statistics from the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration. 421,000 people injured by distracted driving in 2012. That is not all phone related, but that's eating in the car, putting on makeup, reading the newspaper, grabbing for something in the back seat while you're driving. There was 3,300 over that in terms of deaths in 2012. Again, these are statistics from the government. 21% of those fatal crashes for teenagers were due to cell phones, whether that be texting or talking, plugging them in. So that's something we need to be aware of. And do we set a good example as parents? Do we answer the cell phone when we're in the car? Do we text while we're driving when they're sitting in the back seat as youngsters? So they're going to think, geez, that's fine. Don't have to think about it. So just, again, something to think about. Okay, cell phones are here to stay. 78% of 12 to 17-year-olds have them right now. Now, again, some of our younger kids may not have them, but I know I see them in the elementary schools, and that's fine as long as parents and guardians know that, okay, we need to, how are we going to manage that device? How are we going to set a good example for our kids as to, you know, do we keep our phone on? Or little things like even, are you always answering your phone at the dinner table? You might want to think about maybe not doing that to show that you don't always have to answer your phone. And use whatever you can as a teachable moment for your child. We do want to raise good digital citizens. There's a lot of positives that go with being in touch, not only with your kids, but to the World Wide Web and having that information available. But we just need to use it cautiously with our younger kids and set a good example. The social media, I mentioned a few: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+. There's more out there than anyone can keep up with. If you go Google social media, you will find that there are literally hundreds of those types of sites. Generally, they do have an age limit where kids have to be 13 years old or older, but all you have to do is click a button, say you're 13 years old, and you will get by that. It's very simple. So lots of different things can happen in that world. Cyberbullying, harassment, sexting. There's privacy concerns because, again, those sites basically own the information that your child might be putting out there. So again, you just need to be aware of what things can happen, and if your child is going to be out there on social media, you should be friends with them, and if they won't let you be friends, you maybe shouldn't let them be on the computer, or block that site from your home computer. If they have a cell phone, again, you can do some blocks, but kids will have the wherewithal to get around things. So you'll have to be informed and keep them safe when they're using such sites.
They can always just go to a friend's house.
They could always go to a friend's house too. That's absolutely correct. So you want to teach as much as you can your kids to, you know, let you be the parent and keep them safe, because they just don't think about these kinds of things. So that's what we're here for on that night, is to give some awareness. If we have a big crowd and need to do these again, we certainly would take the time to get those out there whenever we possibly could.
Do you have to be a Buckeye parent to go to this?
No, I would be fine with anyone coming to the meeting. Any parents, guardians, grandmothers, grandfathers, whoever's concerned about keeping their kids safe and learning more about this. And we just have some practical suggestions, I think, is how we kind of end up with, and then I have some sites that are resources. Again, having that computer in a public space, knowing those minimum ages. If you want to they want to be on social media, you can have a family password. That if your kids want to have their own account, they have to friend you. Again, you need to be able to check up on their accounts. In terms of that privacy issue, I guess the way I would look at it is, as long as they're living in your home or they're 17 or under, you have every right to know what they're doing so that you can protect them. And then monitor the uses as you would any danger. You know, we don't want our kids drinking and driving. We don't want our kids, you know, performing risky behaviors. So whatever we can do to keep them safe, this is just, again, another one of those areas that we as parents, who are busy enough people, need to make sure we're aware of. The bottom line is, if you learn more about it, and if you're watching this, you're already doing that, and there's tons of websites out there, and I mentioned just a few that I used in putting this together. StopBullying.gov, the American Association of Pediatric, Pew Research, National Highway Transportation, Wired Safety. There's a lot of organizations. The ones that have the .gov, the .org, the .edu, those would be more trusted sites than just the .com or .net, which might be trying to sell you something like parental software, which is not a bad thing, but you want to make sure you get parental software for your computer that is affordable and it's going to do what you want it to do.
Now, are kids sophisticated enough today to know that if they start chatting with somebody online that says they're a 17-year-old boy and this is a 15-year-old girl with low self-esteem or whatever, are they going to realize this may not be a 17-year-old boy, but a 40-year-old pedophile?
Exactly. You have no idea who you're talking about. And in fact, I'm glad Officer Petro is going to be there just for those kinds of things. I have a cousin who was a detective in Lake County and was on different task forces, and they would pretend that they were 13-year-old girls, and it was unbelievable the amount of people that they were able to kind of sweep up off the streets to meet them in a public space, thinking that these people were all different ages and all different genders, to go meet these young kids who thought they were just maybe going to go meet a friend, and this sounded kind of neat and fun. But again, it was police officers doing the work, and that's what, again, talking to him about that at some point made me think, geez, you don't think about that, but we want to protect our kids. So you're right, you never know who you're talking to, and that goes for us as adults also.
What about, you mentioned bullying,
Mm-hmm.
and bullying used to be, you got bullied at school, school ended, the bullying was over, but now they can do it
Now you can do it
into the
20
evening, and what is the Buckeyes policy?
What we do is that if something happens in school, we take care of it. If somebody brings us something, we will suggest that they, whatever municipality they live in, depending how serious it is, that they take it to the local authorities. If it's in North Kingsville, we advise them to call the North Kingsville Police. If it's here in the township, we say, call the Sheriff's Department. We do have students from Ashtabula City, Conneaut, Jefferson. We will, again, get them out to the proper authorities. If they bring us screenshots of, hey, this student threatened me, says they're going to, do something, and then we, again, if it happened during the school day, it's much easier for us. If it didn't happen during the school day, we suggest that they get a hold of local authorities, depending how serious it is.
Right. What if it's spawned in the school system, but it's like things like, you sure are fat, you sure are ugly, you sure are dumb, that sort of stuff that they get? Is that school originating? Is there anything?
Yeah, we look at those kinds of things when they come to our attention, and try to handle those on an individual basis. A lot of times it might just be letting those students know. I just had something. What's today? Monday. It might have been Thursday of last week. A young girl made a little video, said some very unkind things about a couple girls. So we pulled her down. We called the parent. But again, somebody had to bring that to our attention, and then we took care of it. Normally, we'll talk to you about it once, and then if we have to, talk to you about it in the future, there might be a little more teeth in that conversation.